Trusting the wrong person doesn't make you weak. It shows your courage to love deeply. We live in a world where guarding your heart is often celebrated more than giving it, where silence is mistaken for strength and distance is confused with power. But you chose something else. You chose to trust, to open up, to believe in the good. You gave someone a place inside your life, a seat at your table, a key to your most delicate emotions. And when you do that, you're not being naive, you're being brave, because it takes strength to let someone in. It takes courage to say, "Here I am, flawed and still healing, but I trust you with me." It's easy to build walls. It's easy to keep people at arm's length and never take a risk. But real love, real connection, real transformation, that only happens when you make the conscious decision to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is strength wrapped in honesty. It's standing in front of someone without a mask, without pretending, without filtering your soul. That's not something everyone can do, but you did, and that deserves recognition, not shame. So yes, they may have broken that trust. They may have taken advantage of your heart, of your belief in them, of your loyalty, but that doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you foolish. That makes them unworthy of the very thing you were strong enough to give. Sometimes the ones who are most honest, most open, and most loving end up hurt the deepest, not because they were wrong for being that way, but because they offered their heart to someone who didn't know how to hold it. That's not your fault. That's a reflection of their limitations, not yours. The world needs more people who are willing to trust again, even after betrayal. People who are willing to love again, even after heartbreak. People who are willing to hope again, even after disappointment. You are one of those people, and that is a quiet kind of strength that isn't always recognized, but it matters. It matters because it means you haven't let this world harden you. It means you haven't let pain redefine who you are. It means you're still choosing to show up with a soft heart in a world that often rewards being cold. There will be moments where you replay everything wondering if you were too much, too trusting, too quick to believe. But you weren't too anything. You were enough. You were present. You were real. You gave someone the chance to meet a version of you that not everyone gets access to. And if they mishandled that, that is their loss to carry. Your job is not to become colder because of what someone did. Your job is to become wiser, to become clearer about who deserves that trust next time. You weren't wrong for hoping. You weren't wrong for investing. You weren't wrong for seeing the best in someone. What went wrong was that the person you believed in chose not to rise to the level of that belief. They had the chance to be someone who could have grown with you, someone who could have handled your heart with care. They chose differently, but don't let their choice make you question your strength. Trusting them wasn't your failure, it was your fearlessness. The fact that you could give your heart with that level of openness speaks volumes about who you are, and nothing about who they failed to become betrayal doesn't define your worth. It reveals their lack of it. When someone you loved, trusted, and believed in chooses to deceive you or abandon you in a moment where you needed them the most, it's easy to start questioning your own value. You begin to look inward, picking apart every interaction, every word you said, every part of yourself that you shared. You wonder if maybe you gave too much or weren't enough. You wonder if your love was misplaced, if your energy was wasted, if your heart was too open. But here's the truth. What they did was a reflection of their character, not your value. The person who betrayed you chose that path. They could have been honest. They could have been loyal. They could have protected what you both shared instead of tearing it apart. But they didn't, and that choice is on them. That choice comes from a lack within them, not from something missing in you. It takes nothing from your beauty, your strength, your capacity to love. It simply shows what they lacked: integrity, maturity, empathy, and the ability to value something real when they had it in their hands. So many people carry the weight of betrayal as if it's their fault. They internalize it, letting it poison their self-worth and dim their light. But betrayal is never your burden to own. It's not proof that you were unlovable. It's not a sign that you deserved less. It's a mirror showing the brokenness in someone else, the gaps in their soul that they tried to fill by breaking yours. Their actions say everything about them and nothing about who you are at your core. You may feel shattered, confused, or even humiliated by what they did. But remember, diamonds don't lose their value because someone didn't know how to handle them. A masterpiece doesn't become worthless because someone chose to walk past it. And your worth doesn't shrink because someone else failed to see it. You are still the same soul who loves deeply, who gives fully, who shows up with intention and truth. That part of you was never the problem. It was their inability to meet you there. People will hurt others from the place they refuse to heal. If they are insecure, they will betray confidence. If they are afraid of intimacy, they will sabotage closeness. If they carry shame, they will deflect it onto those who love them. And if they are unable to love themselves, they will never truly value someone who does. So often, we stand in the wreckage of betrayal thinking it's about us, when in reality, we were just standing too close to someone fighting a war within themselves. Don't let their damage become your identity. You are not what they did to you. You are not the lie they told, the promise they broke, or the silence they left behind. You are what you did with it. You are the strength that rose the next morning. You are the clarity that came from confusion. You are the growth that bloomed from grief, and that makes you powerful. You may have scars. You may have questions that still haunt you. But scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you endured, that you faced something real, and came out the other side still breathing, still standing, still willing to become whole again. Their betrayal didn't reduce your value. It revealed how little they valued what was precious. That truth may hurt, but it also sets you free from ever confusing your worth with someone else's wounds again. The pain is not the end. It's the beginning of awakening and transformation. When betrayal or heartbreak crashes into your life, it often feels like a final blow, like the end of something sacred, something meaningful. You find yourself sitting in silence, staring at the empty space where love used to live, questioning everything. The laughter you shared feels like a lie. The memories start to blur, and all you're left with is pain, raw, loud, and consuming. But what most people don't see in those moments is what's quietly beginning inside you. What feels like the end is often the cracking open of something deeper. Pain has a language of its own. It doesn't whisper, it roars. It gets your attention. It shakes the very ground beneath you, forcing you to look at things you may have ignored, tolerated, or tried to fix. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to show you what can no longer be avoided. When someone you trusted breaks that trust, it tears down the illusions not just about them, but about yourself. You begin to see the parts of you that kept choosing potential over reality, comfort over truth, fantasy over facts. That's not weakness, that's human, but once the pain hits, the blinders fall away, and what's left is the naked truth. And the truth is, you were always meant to outgrow what broke you. That betrayal didn't just happen to you, it happened for you. Not in a way that justifies it, but in a way that transforms it. The moment someone shows you who they really are, believe them. And when that truth hurts, let it. Because buried in that pain is the key to your next chapter. Transformation never begins in comfort. It begins when your heart is forced to choose itself. Pain teaches you boundaries. It teaches you how to say no, how to walk away, how to listen to your intuition when something doesn't feel right. It strips you of the lies you told yourself to keep a broken connection alive. It pushes you to confront the parts of you that begged to be loved, even by the wrong people. And that confrontation, as brutal as it feels, is where your real power starts to grow. The version of you who allowed that pain, who stayed too long, who loved without being loved back, that version needed to break. Not because it was weak, but because it was unfinished. Pain is the fire that forges the next you, the version of you that learns how to trust again, but wisely. The version that no longer begs to be seen because you've learned to see yourself. The version that doesn't shrink to be accepted because you now know your worth isn't up for negotiation. This transformation isn't loud. It happens in quiet mornings when you no longer cry, in nights where your thoughts become lighter, in conversations where you speak your truth without trembling. It happens when you choose peace over closure, growth over bitterness, self-respect over chasing. You wake up one day and realize the pain no longer controls you, yet sculpted you. You are not who you were before the pain. And that's a beautiful thing, because now you are deeper, wiser, more aware. You are rooted not in fantasy, but in truth. You have faced what tried to break you, and discovered that the breaking wasn't the end. It was the invitation to rebuild something stronger, something truer, something that finally includes you. Your resilience is louder than their betrayal. You are still standing. When someone you trusted turns their back on you, it shakes the ground beneath you. It feels like the world has gone silent, like everything you believed in has crumbled. But then, somehow, in the middle of that silence, there's something else. The sound of your own breath, the steady beat of your heart, the quiet proof that even though they left you in pieces, you're still here. Still rising, still choosing to heal. It's easy to measure yourself by the damage done, to think that the betrayal defines the rest of your story. But it doesn't. What defines you is how you keep going, how you carry the weight, wipe your tears, and still move forward. You didn't collapse under the heartbreak. You didn't disappear. You showed up for yourself in the small ways that no one else saw, and that matters more than anything they did to you. Every step you take beyond the pain is a victory. Every boundary you set, every truth you speak, every tear you refuse to hide, it all adds up to strength they never expected you to have. Because they thought breaking you would be the end, but instead it became your beginning. You learned that even with scars, you are still whole. Even with hurt, you can still love. Even with betrayal, you can still trust this time, beginning with yourself. That is resilience, not pretending the pain didn't happen, but growing stronger because of it, not needing revenge, but choosing peace. Not staying stuck, but turning the page. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you are no longer where they left you. Rebuild your trust, not in them, but in yourself. After betrayal, it's natural to question everything. You doubt your choices, your instincts, your ability to judge who is safe and who is not. You replay the moments you missed, the signs you ignored, the words you believed. It shakes you, not just because they lied, but because you feel like you lied to yourself. But healing doesn't come from figuring them out. It comes from returning to you and learning to trust your own heart again. You were not foolish for believing in love. You were not naive for giving someone a chance. That was you honoring your truth, your capacity to feel, to give, to invest fully. That doesn't need to change. What needs to be rebuilt is your relationship with yourself, the voice inside you that got drowned out by fear or attachment or hope. That voice knew it always does, and even if it was quiet, even if you didn't listen then, you can begin now. Trusting yourself again means believing that you will not abandon yourself next time, that you will listen to the discomfort, that you will honor your boundaries, that you will not apologize for asking for more. It's not about building walls. It's about building wisdom. You don't have to become someone else to be safe. You just have to come back to who you were before they made you doubt your power. The next chapter of your life deserves a version of you that no longer needs outside approval to feel worthy. A version that moves with clarity, not fear. A version that knows, I am enough, I am learning, and I am never going to ignore myself again.